$10 million from the federal government. This is a private memorial in honor of the Crazy Horse Memorial. Off to the right, you're going to see a couple of dairy buildings. They had a Holstein operation which helped the family to get by financially. They eventually added a few more cows on there when the girls got older. Now Korchak, when he knocked the lumber down for these roads to lead to the mountain, he used them for the log cabin. And eventually he would start up a sawmill that would help them financially. That hole up there, that started in 1967 from the east side. And they come through on the west side in 1970. You can take that bulldozer up ahead of us on the right side of the road, put it in that hole with another one alongside it, and it is 4 stories high in that opening. That would pretty much be right below the inside of his elbow, or maybe underneath the elbow. That mountain is 600 feet high, 641 feet across. That arm is 264 feet in length to the shoulder. And that hand is 33.5 feet high. That index finger is 29 feet long. You could take any one of them faces of Mount Rushmore. We'll use Jefferson, put his chin to Crazy Horse's chin. The top of Jefferson's head would go even to his Crazy Horse's eyebrows. That's 87.5 compared to 60. You could take Abraham Lincoln, put him his left cheek to his Crazy Horse's right cheek, all the way over to where you see them 2 trees on the skyline. That would be where you put Mount Rushmore in there. Give you a better idea how much bigger that mountain is. That crane was put up a month ago. It's 250 feet high, 50 feet above Crazy Horse's head. It's 267 feet in total span. It can pick up to 44,000 pounds. It is exactly 13 inches away from the arm of Crazy Horse's, and his arm is complete on the east side, back towards the shoulder. Now you can see the switchback roads there that they put them in there so they could get them the split levels down so they could get there and carve off the side of that mountain. There is no road leading up to this side of the mountain. Now Crazy Horse, his face was started later on before Korchak passed away. Now he started with the horse first, so he had his wife in the parking lot and he was up on the mountain with a rope hanging down 70 foot. He had his gallon bucket of paint with a brush. He'd hang on the side of that mountain with a rope and take the formations from his wife, 6 foot wide. When he was done, it was 6 foot wide, the whole formation of that horse. And he looked at her when he finished with it and said he was sad, but he was glad. She asked him what he meant by that. He said, well, I'm sad because they'll think all I'm going to do is paint the mountain instead of carve or blast. And then I'm glad I don't have to go back up there and put another 176 gallons of paint up. From where the thumbnail is, that's where the last 744 tread was put in place for the step. When Korchak talked about that old compressor that he called Buddha, it would go kaput, kaput, kaput. 9 times in one day, he'd have to go up and down them stairs and hand crank that thing. It was built in 1920. Korchak bought it in 1928. I'm sorry, 1948. It was already 28 years old. Now, Curly was born 1844 along the Rapid Creek, 40 miles northeast of here. That was his name before he became Crazy Horse. Now he lost his mother when he was a really young boy. His mother died on him. And the village women would take care of him and nurture him all the way through his young childhood to a boy, to a man. And he became that warrior eventually. He was a very respected boy. He learned a lot from the women, learned a lot from the elderly people, and then in return made him a better warrior. So when he became that warrior, his dad found out how good he was tactically out on the battlefield. So he came up to his son, he said, son, I want you to take my name, Crazy Horse, and I will take the name Earthworm, like the worm coming out of the ground. If you look real close, you can see them switchback roads on the left side, coming down from the hole to the bottom of of the base of the mountain, which is 600 feet. So Crazy Horse and a couple of others involved in that battle of the Little Bighorn, is that what the white man called it? And the Lakota and the Dakota would call it. Now Dakota are on the east side of the river of Missouri, and the Lakota are on the west side. They called it the Greasy Knoll Battle in southeast Montana, which is right from 212 and 90 beats. That's where Harding, Montana is. There's been over 10 million pounds of rock blasted and carved off that mountain. They have not used a stick of dynamite since 2015. If you get on Dirty Jobs, Crazy Horse 2022 YouTube, you will see how they carved and how they cut on mountain up there. Mike Rowe is so hilarious, and it's a very, very good thing to watch. Now, this coned area that you see, when we come back around, I'll ask you to wait until I get the wheel chucks in place and get the steps sealed in place. Then we'll get out for 5 to 6 minutes, take turns taking family pictures for each other, and while I can be talking more about that mountain. This is Mark Julkowski's office. He does the rock quarrying, crushing rocks, takes care of the gravel roads. And if you remember Cashmere talking about that bulldozer when he was pushing the bulldozer over the side of the mountain, and the brakes went out. Well, there it is in front of us, right at the bend of the road. So he bailed off before it hit the ground. It went in over inlet on his tracks. It was still running. By the time his dad got over there, he had noticed that the bulldozer was running and his son was already up and brushing the dirt off the side of his body and all. He asked his son if he was all right, and Cashmere said, "I'm okay." He said to his son, "Well, you got that thing down there, now you can figure out how to get it out of here." And that's as far as it got right there, and it died. If you look off to your left, you can see, let me go a little further ahead. You can see the little finger and the two fingers leading to the index finger. In 2023, they revealed the hand, and all they had done at that time was the top of the hand, the knuckles, and the top of the index finger. Since then, they've got the thumb, the palm, back to the wrist, and the hand, part of the mane, where the fingers are in the mane of the horse. That's how much they've got done since 2023. That's pretty amazing. That's a lot of hard work. There is anywhere from 14 to 20 people up on that mountain working. There has not been one individual who's died on that mountain. They've been broken bones and hurt feelings, and that's about it. This is the only road leading up to the mountain. There's 14 to 20 people up there working at a time, and if there's a lightning strike within a 15-mile radius, they have to shut the mountain down, and the bus drivers and the workers are not allowed up there because there's so much iron in that mountain, they're in fear of getting electrocuted of a lightning strike. Look real close, and that tower comes out of the granite there. It's only 13 inches away from the arm. You can see that little shadow there. And that passenger side, you can see it too once we get turned around. There's a little dark shadow there right at the base. They have that arm down on the east side. Now they predict the hand, part of the mane underneath the hand, the arm all the way back to the shoulder, and part of the hair on his head will be done in 5 years. Now this building right here was put up in 1947, and Henry Chief's raised in the Rosebud Sioux tribe where I was raised, just 145 miles east of here with the crow flies on the other side of the Pine Ridge Reservation. He had contacted Korchak, who had already been back up into Connecticut to get his stuff here because he had told Chief Henry Stanberry he was coming back here in 47 to start doing the carving on that wall. Well, in 48 that was. So Henry Chief Stanberry told him about this guy getting a claim in 150 acres. The old man, the young man, he talked to him a little bit. Korchak came back. They sat down with that old man, that young man, managed to get the claim back in the land, and told the old man he could stay there as long as he wanted. The young man stuck around and dug water wells for the Korchak-Zulkowski family, and then eventually would help with the visitors in the Welcome Center throughout his lifetime here work on the mountain. Now, Korchak in 1939 was working for Bulgrim on the Mount Rushmore in 1939. And Chief Henry Standing Bear, who is the main reason why that sculpture is down up there, had seen that Korchak, or that Bulgrim was working on Mount Rushmore and doing the 4 paces. So he confronted Bulgrim and asked him if he'd be interested in doing the Red Man of Crazy Horse, and Bulgrim turned him down. Well, it was shortly after that he had to get back to Washington, D.C., so he appointed a man below Korchak and told him to manage that mountain and control it until I get back from Washington, D.C. Turned out that guy didn't know much what he was talking about. The sculpture got into Korchak's face. They got in an argument. They got in a fight. The guy fires him. He comes back to Connecticut. And in 1939, in the middle part of 39, he entered into the New York State's World's Fair and got first prize in the sculpture. And it was then when Henry Chief Standing Bear, remember I told him, yeah, he was born in Rosebud Tribe, which is just east of here on the east side of the Pine Ridge. And when he graduated from St. Francis Indian School, then he went on to college, and he read about that in the paper and got a hold of Korchak through a letter and asked him through letter if he'd be interested in doing that. Korchak said he'd think about it. Well, in 1942, Korchak enlisted into the Army. He went over to Europe. In 1944, he was wounded twice in Normandy Beach, got 2 Purple Hearts, and it was right after that, a year after that, he got a hold of Henry Chief Standing Bear, and he committed his life to come back and do the carving of the mountain. So I will get down, put the wheel checks in place. We'll get out for about 5 to 6 minutes, and we'll talk more about that mountain. Look